Okay, so let's start with the components. The trolley handle. This trolley handle works okay, but in my opinion, for commuting or strolling the wheel, it's poorly positioned, and it doesn't afford you a very strong command of the wheel and the direction that the wheel might be going when you're strolling it along. And actually when you're strolling it can easily get away from you. It's happened to me several times when I was strolling the wheel around. So you want to be very careful when you're strolling the wheel. Not that big of a deal. Most people who have been fans of this super form factor design for the several generations of it that have happened, the 84 volts, the 100 volt, now the MSP, the 84 volt MSX, the 100 volt MSX, and now the MSP. They're pretty used to the wheel. They've either never cared about this, or they love the wheel so much that they've adapted their usage to the point that this is no longer a big deal for them. However, if you're coming from other wheels that have better versions of this, you're going to notice that and be slightly annoyed by it, perhaps. The other thing about this trolley handle is, for me, it doesn't feel super sturdy. It's okay. But, you know, it does work. It does work. So, should be able to get done what you want to get done with it. Not much else to say about that. Oh yeah, and the other thing is it doesn't recess very well into its compartment. It's very difficult to do that sometimes, as you can see. So sometimes this thing can get away from you. You gotta kind of steer it. You can control it, but it can get away, you know. And when it gets away, it's pretty wild. Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
See?
I'm telling you, it's wild, man. This thing can get away from you. The grab handle. This is very well designed, I think. It's easy to grab it. It's easy to hold the wheel. Easy to lift it if you need to lift it, or stroll it, or move it, or stroll it for any reason. So that's very well designed. Here's your grab handle, which works well. Some wheels have the switch underneath this grab handle, but the MSP has the switch here on the left. So in order to lift it, if you lift it without that, you know, you get this. Hey, what the hell? May as well do a show them what it spins like. She's gonna blow. She's gonna blow. Whoa. All right. I'm gonna do some exercises with this thing. All right, so let's turn it off. Turn it back on. She's back on. Now let's lift it. After depressing this button, no problems. It won't spin. But some people find it troublesome to have the switch here. I don't have any problem with it being there. I just think it's a better solution to have it underneath. One of the issues is that when you put the seat cushion on, it presses this button, and anything that you put on this wheel that inadvertently presses this button is gonna, it's gonna shut your wheel, your gyroscope off. See? It's gonna shut off your gyroscope, and that's gonna cause you a very big problem. So not a good idea to use the seat cushion without some small modification. The shell casing. The shell casing is pretty hard, brittle feeling plastic. Some of my other wheels have a more durable feeling, pliant, softer kind of plastic, but this is very hard. Doesn't feel very resilient. It doesn't seem to me like it would withstand, even a moderate crash. It would probably crack, and you'd probably have to get a new one, a new shell. So you might want to consider keeping some parts on reserve if you own this wheel and you like to do crazy shit with it. Okay. Others have, I think the owners of this wheel have, pretty much know that this thing will not withstand a crash very well, and that's probably why we see so many Thingiverse 3D printer designs for for the wheel, in order to enhance its ability to retain its to not be damaged if it does fall, and retain its shape and not crack and break. You have everything from the Batman mask that I see some people with covering their wheels, everything from the Batman mask to pig noses to very, very pillowy, cushy, multifunctional side pads, all serve to some degree to protect the wheel from damage if it falls. And if you're so inclined, you probably should buy one of those accessories to make sure that you're able to protect your wheel. I want to talk about the headlights. They're bright as hell. I mean, they're probably approximately twice as bright as the MSX headlights. If you have an MSX, imagine your headlight on high beam. If you have the stock headlight, okay, that's what you'll start to get the picture of how bright this is. This is a very, very effective wheel. You've got in terms of the headlight beam and the shine, it's very bright. I've ridden this wheel at night and I didn't feel like I even needed a flashlight. I often ride with flashlights with my other wheels, but with this wheel I didn't feel like I needed any extra lighting. Although it's probably safe to do that anyway if you want to ride. So headlight has apparently one mode, two modes, one mode, mode 2, off. And it's pretty bright. Challenging to see that in the daylight, obviously, but these two beams are pretty bright. They cast a pretty serious beam. Good stuff.
I'll show you. made it.
The tire. Oh man, I love this thing. This is awesome. This tire is plush. I mean, you can, this 18 by 3-inch tire, diameter tire, you could go over anything and you barely feel it. This thing can roll over pretty much anything. It's very smooth, and it's very reassuring to ride on top of it. I mean, it's a great wheel. What else can I say that hasn't already been said about it? I don't know if you guys can hear that. And it's typical of the wheels that I have. The Nikola does this too, the squeaking sound. Now this is cool if it's your bed making this sound. But I don't know how cool it is with your wheel making it. You know. But that's what it is. It makes that sound, and you know, it's just not a cool sound to me. But I love the wheel. It's not, you know. That's the sound you hear whenever you shift directions really fast. Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the battery pack, the 1800 watt hour battery pack, it allows me, it seems, when I'm pushing the wheel hard, it seems like I can go about 20 miles before I'm below 50% if I'm pushing it really hard. So that makes it, if I'm pushing it hard as I can push it, I think that makes it a solid maybe 40 mile an hour wheel, 35, 40 mile an hour wheel. If you're pushing it moderately, you can go better than 60. A friend of mine recently did a test, and I think she got 67 miles on it, which is pretty incredible. I don't think I could get that much on it, but I'm pretty sure I could get 60 out of it. All right, let's talk about performance. I want to share my impressions of the performance of this wheel, of the MSP. I'll give you my overall impression first. Badass. I mean, damn, this thing is super powerful. And for, you know, a bigger guy like me, this wheel gives me everything I need. I never have any fears of it cutting out, or, I mean, unless I push past the 80% beeps, that's the only way I would have a concern about that, which, you know, I'll talk about that later, a little bit later. But, you know, I never have any concerns about this wheel, like, giving up on me in any situation. You're climbing a hill, this thing will lose traction before it gives up on you. I mean, it's an incredible wheel. It has incredible power on demand, on tap. I mean, it'll do anything you ask. It'll climb, it'll get up and walk. The only thing it will not allow you to do is to go as fast as an MSX. It doesn't spin as fast as an MSX. The powerful motor, I guess, has its, you know, that's the caveat. That's the downside. I mean, the powerful motor has its limits. I mean, you know, it uses more voltage, I suppose, and it pushes you to that torque pushes you to those limits, to that ceiling, I guess, a lot faster. So And the end result of that is that it limits, what you can do on the top end. The wheel will allow you to push it very hard, but the ceiling, the safety margin, even with this 100-volt pack, to me doesn't seem to be substantial enough, in my opinion. I feel like when I ride this wheel and I push it often, and when I do that, I'm hitting those beeps, just too soon. I mean, if I'm getting on it, I hit 35. If I've got between 100 and 70% battery, I'm pushing it, and I hit 35, and it's beep 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 beep. You're getting that 5 beep, 80% warning. So you're always, when you're using this wheel and you're pushing it, you're always hovering. It seems like you're always hovering somewhere near that 80% limit, and the wheel limits you right there. So that's your ceiling. So in my opinion, the ceiling is too low, Gotway. It's too low. You need to raise it. I love everything about this wheel. That's not a big deal for me. But for street speed demons, they're not gonna like that very much, that part of it. They're used to being able to go 45 miles an hour on their wheel, sometimes without even getting beeps until they get there, So this wheel is gonna beep you a lot sooner. You're gonna hit that, because that's the downside to all that power, is that it's going to need, I think, more voltage in order to allow you to go faster and accelerate even harder. Because when I don't even feel like I've accelerated this wheel as hard as I could, because you hit the beep so quickly and accelerate so quickly, and you hit the beep so fast that you find yourself backing off when you hit them. Of course, if you ride Gotway wheels, you've been trained to do that over the years and over the iterations of their wheels, too. You've been trained to respect the beep. So when you hear it, if you've been riding these wheels 9 times out of 10, what you're going to do is back off. And frankly, I recommend that. So the answer is not to, in my opinion, to push this. I think I've pushed this wheel beyond the beeps, but I don't think that I could recommend that as an answer for most people. The average rider is not going to do that, and I wouldn't recommend it. To me, the answer is to push the ceiling higher so that we get the beeps later. I'm not an engineer. I don't really know how they would accomplish that, but cons would be I talked about some of the cons already. The beeps, I think the ceiling is too low. The safety margin is too low. That needs to be raised. That's probably why the 126 volt wheels have been rumored. I think this 2500 watt motor needs that, and that 126 volt setup. The other con would be, in my opinion, the comfort, of the stock pedals. These are more comfortable, but then you lose the performance edge that the stock pedals give you when you're talking about leaning and feeling secure and locked in. I went down a flight of stairs just over here riding this wheel, and I had the stock pedals on it, and when I hadn't done it in a little while, so I went down those stairs with the stock pedals on it, and I barely noticed it. I put these on, and I guess I didn't realize that I had these on, and I went down those stairs, and by the time I hit the bottom, my feet shifted the position on the pedals, and it was fine. I didn't fall or anything. It was cool. I did it a few times, but each time it looked like my feet, it seemed like my feet moved on the pedals, and that didn't happen with the stock pedal. So if you're going to be doing any sport riding, you probably want to keep your stock footrests on the wheel. These footrests are for touring mostly. You want to ride fast on the street, you want to put these on. You're going to go a long distance, you're going to ride long distance, you probably want something like this. If that's the type of rider you are, you probably want something like that. And you probably should keep your old pedals like I did, so you can swap back and forth. It's not that hard. It takes like 5, maybe 10 minutes to swap them. It takes me 5. But other than that, man, this is, and the other con, I think, let me recap the other con, this thing. Commuting. Like I said, if you're coming from, let's say, a King Song wheel or an In Motion wheel, and you're getting this MSP Performance, you're definitely going to notice that this does not work as well as those wheels you're coming from. And if you commute to work every day, you mix your commute like a lot of people in DC, in the DC area do, mix your commute, you're going to work or whatever, then you're going to feel that, and you're probably not going to want to commute with that wheel. I know my son usually uses the 18XL, even though he has this wheel available. He has the Nikola Plus available. He has the 16X available. He has, you know, a couple of other wheels available, but he always picks that 18XL when he's commuting, when he's catching the subway to campus, or, you know, having to go to a meeting for work or whatever, or go to work or go to campus. He's usually commuting with that 18XL. So a lot of people do use their wheels as last mile transportation, and I think wheels work great in that way, even if they're long range wheels like this one, because, you know, you should have the option to commute, or, you know, or ride long distance if you want to. But this one allows you to definitely ride long distance, but the commute won't be so pleasant. So there are other wheels for that. If that's how you plan to use a wheel, I don't recommend you get this one, you know. Or if you're that set on getting this one, be prepared to change how you commute. And that's not so bad, because this is a badass, fun-ass wheel. So it's all good. Anyway, that's pretty much what I have to say about the MSP. I hope what I've said has helped someone understand this wheel better. Basically, you're getting a tank. You're getting a monster of a wheel that can do anything you want it to do, and even go fast. It's not the fastest wheel at the top end, but it's probably a faster accelerator than any other large wheel out there because of the power. But it's definitely going to hit a ceiling sooner because of all that power at the same time. So, you know, you have to decide your priorities, man. You know, that's basically what it is. That's what these wheels are about. There's something for everybody, and not everybody likes the same thing. So with that, peace.